In Georgia, that bail bondsman's right, Scott Hall?
Right, Scott Hall, a bail bondsman involved in the Fulton County District Attorney's case against Donald Trump and those 18 other co-defendants for violating the election laws of Georgia in an attempt to steal the 2020 election there. Scott Hall appeared before a judge today for what's called a negotiated resolution. That's basically a plea deal, right? When asked if he understands that this is a negotiated plea, Hall said, "I do." This comes after attorneys for Donald Trump said they will not seek to have his Georgia election interference case removed to federal court. He might have had an argument as a president. He had a federal official. He could do that. He decided not to. But let's go to our expert on this case and so many of the Donald Trump indictments. Aaron Katursky is back with us. So, Aaron, tell us about Scott Hall, who he is, what he is alleged to have done, what he's confessed to do, what he's pled to, guilty to doing now, and what it means for the case.
I think most notably, Terry, Scott Hall has just become the very first of the 19 defendants in this case to plead guilty and agree to testify against the others at trial. And the first trial in this case in Fulton County, Georgia, is less than a month away. It's expected to begin on October 23rd for two of the defendants in the case who asked for an expedited trial. Scott Hall is a bail bondsman, and according to Fulton County prosecutors, he was involved in an effort to tamper with voting machines in rural Coffee County. This was all part of a plot allegedly hatched by Sidney Powell, an attorney who was working with the Trump campaign and others to try and find some evidence of wrongdoing, and they believed they could find it in the voting machines owned by Dominion Voting Systems in this rural county in Georgia. And according to prosecutors, Scott Hall was one of the defendants who was encouraging all of this tampering. He has agreed to plead guilty, and moments ago, Terry, he was sentenced to effectively 5 years probation. He needs to write a letter of apology, serve 200 hours of community service, and crucially, testify against his co-defendants in this case.
I can just follow up. That's the key, isn't it? So this is a pretty serious crime in our system. He tried to tamper with the voting machines to get access to demonstrate the lunatic theory that Trump was trying to show that there were gremlins in the machine that fixed the vote for Joe Biden. I guess the first question I'd have for him is, who told you to do that?
And that may be one of the very first questions. We'll see what he's prepared to say. But he has officially pleaded guilty to misdemeanor conspiracy counts. There were a number of defendants who were charged over this alleged tampering with the voting machines in Coffee County. You can see some of them on your screen. Scott Hall stood before the judge, entered his guilty plea, and the judge simply went over the arguments, Terry, to say, you know what you're doing. It was a typical guilty plea, but the very first one in the case. He was also given a condition that he cannot participate in any election activities going forward.
So 19 defendants in total, including former President Trump. When could we see everyone enter their pleas?
Well, they've all, excluding Scott Hall now, Kira, they've all pleaded not guilty and are preparing to go to trial. Just today, the Fulton County prosecutors were asked by the judge at a separate hearing whether they plan to offer plea deals to every defendant. And the prosecutor was a little cagey about that, but said he did expect that in some cases, plea agreements would be offered to some of the defendants, and it appears Scott Hall was the very first one to take them up on it. Otherwise, at this point, the rest of the defendants in the case, including former President Trump, are going to be headed toward trial.
Fascinating. We'll see just how this development, the plea agreement for Scott Hall, might impact those other defendants, especially the former president. Aaron Katursky, as always, thanks.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.